G'day guys, namaste, I hope you're doing well. And it has come to my attention that there are many of you out there that are struggling with the concept of world without end. And many of you are struggling to anchor yourself in the tangible knowing of your eternal and immortal and everlasting nature, okay? And many of you are quite fearful, particularly those of you who are parents. I hear a lot of comments, okay, about they grow up so fast and there's this fear of missing out on our children growing up. And in this video, I'm going to reassure you that you are not going to miss out on anything. Anything that you desire to experience. For example, watching every moment of your children grow up and become the beings that they are destined to be and fulfill their mission and their destiny. Your soul desires to be there for every moment, and you are. You just have to realize that what you are is pure energy, pure awareness, and therefore you are everywhere, all at once, all the time. You're a shaman. We are all shamans. Okay, we are all time travelers. We all have this ability to go deep within the infinite wellspring within us, okay, to access the Akashic field, the Akashic records, right, the infinite living mind which we access through our imagination. And if there is anything that you feel like you missed out on, you have the ability, by going into deep meditation and using your focus and your intention and your attention, right, you can travel back in time to relive and experience from the same perspective or from a different perspective, okay? So in the words of Rumi, there is no loss. Everything comes back in another form, and it also comes back in an upgraded form. Okay, so what I'm going to help you understand in this video is that any fear that you have of missing out on any of those valuable moments, particularly with your children, okay, can be dispelled. That fear is an illusion and it can be dispelled, and I'm going to dispel it in this video. Okay, so let's take a look at this picture that I drew. We have the three-dimensional Earth and we have the five-dimensional Earth, and we have this beautiful rainbow bridge, this tether in between. What you are is both energy and matter, physical. Okay, your physical being lives in the three-dimensional Earth, but at the same time, you also have a non-physical being. This is your pure awareness, the energy that is infused into your physical being, your consciousness. Okay, the 3D represents separation consciousness or victim consciousness, and the 5D represents unity consciousness. And the reason why I've put the yin yang in the middle is because there's a little bit of the 5D in the 3D, and there's a little bit of the 3D in the 5D. The 5D actually overlaps with the 3D. Okay, they both exist at the same time within your consciousness. Okay, the 3D represents a contrast experience, and the 5D represents the kingdom of heaven. Okay, when you awaken to a 5D level of consciousness, you start to access the infinite number of timelines, parallel lives, parallel conditions, parallel versions of you that exist within your consciousness now, right? And because the 5D is a non-physical realm, you're not restricted to just the one physical body. You can take your pure awareness and move it around and infuse it into other beings and characters and animals and trees and plants and fungi and elements, and you can have any experience that you desire. And this is because you are a shaman. We are all shaman that have the ability to take ourselves on a shamanic journey through the infinite living mind. And basically how this works is we choose as a soul, we come from the 5D, and our soul chooses to incarnate into the 3D earth to have a particular experience that is going to evolve our consciousness. Okay, so we choose to incarnate into the 3D earth where we go through the veil of forgetting. We forget that we are connected to the 5D. And we are born into a family to have an experience. And we have that experience until we awaken and remember that there's this bridge here that connects us to the 5D. And the opportunity is to become both fully human, anchored in the 3D reality, and fully divine, anchored in the 5D reality, with this beautiful connecting bridge in between. Okay, Albert Einstein called this the Einstein-Rosen bridge. Scientists call it a wormhole. And what the scientists tell us about wormholes or Einstein-Rosen bridges is that you can fold space and time like this so that the 5D and 3D can exist at the same time. Okay, this happens when your soul begins to awaken. You collapse space-time, the space-time continuum, and you merge the 5D with the 3D to form a bond. Okay, so we have the experience of incarnating into the 3D, being raised by a family, our parents, we make friends, we build relationships until we awaken and remember our connection. This takes us back to a 5D level of consciousness where we can embody both. And from here, we can remember and come back to the kingdom of heaven. And from here, we can choose to do whatever we desire to do. We can access higher dimensions, the 6th dimension or density, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. This goes on forever. There's an infinite number of dimensions that you can access, or some people choose to incarnate or reincarnate back into the 3D. Okay, and this is why it's world without end, because we can move from the 3D back to the 5D, come back to the 3D, and we can do that as many times, an infinite number of times. You can actually have every single experience. So there's been about 100 billion human beings that have incarnated into planet Earth. You can experience all of them if you wish. Okay, the good news is that most of them are irrelevant, but you're going to scrape the cream off the top, the supreme consciousness, the Christ consciousness, or the Mary Magdalene consciousness. You're going to scrape that off the top and select and download the timelines, the characters, the best aspects of everything that has ever happened on the 3D and integrate that just like Christ did, just like Mary did, into your consciousness to become the most highly evolved version of yourself, the most limitless and abundant version of yourself. Okay, and what you're really coming back to is the serpent energy, the energy of creation. Coming back to the Om frequency, the 432 hertz. Okay, so you don't need to worry, you don't need to have any fear about missing out on a single thing. As a fully divine human being, right, you are here to experience everything that you desire. And this is how you do it, okay, by surrendering, okay, when you find yourself in the 3D, surrendering to a higher plan that your higher self, who comes from the 5D, has already laid out for you, and allowing yourself to awaken gracefully and gently in perfect divine time to restore this connection between worlds, to realize your eternal and immortal nature, to realize world without end. Okay, so we're all time travelers, we're all shamans, the shaman of our own soul, and we are all dreaming our soul back home. We are actually all, everyone here in the 3D earth, we are all walking each other home, okay? Everyone you meet holds a key that unlocks the next level version of yourself, and that is a stepping stone, okay, that helps you to refurbish this beautiful bridge, this beautiful tether that connects you back to the kingdom. Right, and as you find yourself in the 3D, moving through relationships that help you to evolve your consciousness, you'll start to get flashbacks to the kingdom, okay? You'll get little peaks, right? Spirit will give you little insights into what's coming, what's possible to help keep you on track. And that energy, which is coming from the 5D, is what's guiding you. And that's what guides your intuition. That is your intuition. It's coming from your higher self who's sitting here in the 5D. All right, so both 3D and 5D are within you, and they exist within you now. They're not something in the future to achieve or acquire. There's something to be realized now in this present moment, and they can only be realized in this present moment. I pray that helps.